We all have our favorites in K-pop, and there's nothing wrong with being passionate about the idols you like or calling out behavior from others you think crosses the line. But somewhere along the way, K-pop fans completely lost the plot and started full-blown hate campaigns against idols, destroying their careers and mental health. Some of these artists have endured years where the only thing they received from the internet was relentless hatred and harassment, turning their jobs into a complete nightmare. This is something that IVE's IVE Wonyoung knows all too well. When she first stepped into the industry at just 14 years old during Mnet's Produce 48, nobody could have predicted that this talented young girl would eventually become one of the most polarizing figures in K-pop history. During this survival show, Wonyoung managed to steal hearts with her natural beauty and obvious talent, ultimately securing first place in the competition and earning the center position in the project group IVE Wonyoung. The group debuted in 2018 and quickly became a fan favorite with hits like La Vie en Rose and Violetta, turning Wonyoung into a rising star alongside her future IVE member Eugene. When IVE Wonyoung was forced to disband in 2021, fans barely had time to mourn before Wonyoung was announced as a member of Starship's newest girl group, IVE. The group debuted in December 2021 with 11, and it became an instant hit. Considering IVE was one of the fastest growing acts in K-pop, Wonyoung's influence exploded beyond just music, with luxury brand Miu Miu picking her as their global ambassador and fashion magazines constantly featuring her perfect face on their covers, leading everyone to unanimously crown her as the fourth generation's undisputed it girl who seemed to have the world at her fingertips. During her IVE Wonyoung days, Wonyoung was overwhelmingly adored by fans as she was the cutesy maknae of the group. But the moment she debuted with IVE and stepped into a more mature concept without the protective shield of being the baby of the group, something shifted dramatically in how the internet perceived her. She became K-pop's favorite target, with netizens making it their personal mission to monitor her every move and twist even the smallest things into evidence of her being fake, annoying, or even attention-seeking. Before anyone could blink, the internet had started one of the most bizarre hate campaigns in recent K-pop history, transforming the industry's golden girl into a punching bag practically overnight. The first real wave of hate started almost immediately after 11 dropped, with netizens arguing that Starship Entertainment had a clear favorite member. Fans quickly started calling the group Wonyoung and Friends, pointing out that literally everything about their promotion seemed designed to center Wonyoung while the other girls faded into the background like props in her personal showcase. The criticism took a dramatic turn when people noticed that the ending pose of their choreography suspiciously formed what looked like a giant W with Wonyoung positioned at the front. Although Starship Entertainment likely intended it to represent IVE symbolism, it appeared to be favoritism towards Wonyoung, at least according to most antis. But the formation wasn't even the biggest problem here, because anyone who tried to find promotional content from the 11 era quickly realized that practically every single thumbnail featured either Wonyoung or occasionally Eugene, both IVE Wonyoung members whose established fan bases were clearly being used, while the other girls struggled to get any individual recognition. Netizens claimed that the styling choices during this era made the favoritism even more painfully obvious, with Wonyoung apparently receiving the prettiest and most eye-catching outfits, which dramatically set her apart from her other members. Whether it was being the only one in a pink dress while everyone else wore a different color, or wearing noticeably more extravagant designs that drew the eye directly to her during performances, fans believed something fishy was going on and they didn't like it. The situation reached peak absurdity during the SBS Gayo Daejun performance at the end of 2021, when Wonyoung and Eugene not only got special entrances while the other members just stood there awkwardly, but Wonyoung was dressed in total white while all her members were in black, which just happened to be the exact same color as the backup dancers' outfits. Netizens were directing their criticism at Wonyoung instead of Starship, claiming that she loved the attention and wanted her group members to look like her dance crew. As the favoritism allegations kept piling up and Wonyoung's name became impossible to escape in any conversation about IVE, the focus shifted to her body and appearance. Netizens started obsessively analyzing her weight, with endless debates being started online about whether she was naturally skinny or if her weight drop during 11 promotions was evidence of something more concerning happening behind the scenes. But instead of having any kind of productive conversations about the impossible beauty standards that the industry pushes on young women, netizens weaponized their so-called concern into another source for attacking her, with people making cruel jokes, calling her a skeleton, bones, or a chopstick that had nothing to do with genuine worry and everything to do with tearing her down. Things somehow managed to get even more out of hand in 2022 when Wonyoung committed what netizens apparently considered an unforgivable crime, eating a strawberry strawberry in a way that people thought was too cute or calculated. During an appearance on the show The Manager, right before IVE's iconic Love Dive era, Wonyoung was filmed eating a large strawberry with 2 hands, taking a small delicate bite instead of shoving the whole thing in her mouth like apparently every other normal human being is supposed to do. This moment became a viral sensation that dominated Korean social media, with people losing their minds over how she ate the strawberry. Netizens quickly accused her of trying too hard to be cute, being overly aware of the cameras, and performing femininity in a way that made her a pick-me who was doing too much for male attention. Content creators and even other groups started making parody videos, mockingly imitating the way she ate the strawberry, turning this moment into a defining scandal that people genuinely believed revealed something sinister about her character. The criticism was so harsh and absurd that it almost felt like satire, because apparently the internet had collectively decided that there was a correct way to eat strawberries, and Wonyoung's method was evidence of her being fake, calculated, and desperate for attention. Ironically enough, this moment made Wonyoung even more famous, but with that, the hate also intensified. The criticism over how Wonyoung ate food wasn't done yet, because apparently the internet hadn't gotten tired of policing every single bite this girl took, and the next target was a Papa John's advertisement that IVE filmed as part of their list of brand endorsements. When the pizza chain released a behind-the-scenes video on their official YouTube channel showing the girls filming the commercial, netizens immediately focused on Wonyoung eating pizza. A gif of her taking a bite out of the pizza started circulating online, with people calling the way she ate it cringy and questioning why she was acting that way, completely ignoring the obvious fact that she was literally performing for a food advertisement where being overdramatic is quite literally the entire point. The reactions were similar to the strawberry incident, with netizens once again accusing her of being a pick-me girl and trying too hard to be cute. What made the hate over the top in this particular case was the blatant double standard at play, because acting overdramatically for food advertisements is incredibly common in the Korean entertainment industry, with countless idols and actors pulling exaggerated expressions and taking theatrical bites of whatever product they're selling. But somehow, when other celebrities did it, it was just considered normal advertising behavior, while Wonyoung doing the exact same thing for the exact same purpose was treated as evidence of her being fake and attention-seeking. The pick-me accusations reached new heights when Anti started analyzing Wonyoung's interactions with male idols, deciding that every single thing she did around men was calculated manipulation designed to get their attention. When Wonyoung was working as an MC for Music Bank alongside ENHYPEN and Soohee, people turned every moment of them together into evidence of her being desperate for male validation. For example, when Wonyoung pouted during an interview as part of the planned script, she was obviously trying to get Sunghoon's attention rather than just following the directions she'd been given by the production team. Things got even more intense when she touched Stray Kids' Hunjin's shoulder during a choreographed performance, with Stays immediately coming after her for making physical contact. But the hate didn't just come from accusations of trying too hard to get male attention, she also found herself being dragged for allegedly being disrespectful to senior idols. After IVE Won a Music show, the 3 MCs, including NCT's Jaemin, former IVE One member Minju, and Stray Kids' Lee Know, all politely bowed to the group as they passed by to present the trophy. Controversy exploded when the IVE members appeared to only acknowledge and bow back to Minju, while seemingly ignoring Jaemin and Lee Know. Netizens immediately called out IVE, claiming that Wonyoung and her members were rude, arrogant, and disrespectful to their seniors. The criticism was particularly harsh towards Wonyoung since she had experience working as part of IVE One, so netizens argued she should have known better. The internet decided this was yet another example of Wonyoung's terrible personality and proof that her success had gone to her head, adding fuel to a hate train that was already devastating enough. The hatred directed at Wonyoung ultimately escalated to truly disturbing levels that went far beyond typical online negativity and entered genuinely dangerous territory. A shocking post appeared online from someone actively recruiting people to leave malicious comments about Wonyoung, offering to pay 50 Korean won for short, hateful comments and 100 won for longer ones, essentially creating a paid army of trolls online. The fact that someone was willing to spend money to ensure she received constant harassment, combined with the flood of intentionally aggressive videos being posted on YouTube and the relentless negative comments flooding every piece of content related to her, showed just how completely out of control the situation had become. And if you think this hate train has fully stopped in 2025, you're wrong, because although the level of antagonism against Wonyoung isn't quite as intense as it was back in 2022, the internet still feels the need to pick at her for every little thing. The latest controversy she found herself in perfectly highlights the absurd double standards she's been subjected to throughout her entire career, because after years of being torn apart for being too thin and accused of promoting unhealthy body standards, she's now being attacked for gaining weight. In August 2025, Wonyoung posted some lighthearted photos on Instagram where she posed with a table full of desserts. Unexpectedly, a viral pan post with thousands of views immediately turned the moment into an opportunity for body shaming, with the poster claiming she looked noticeably bigger in recent event photos and urging her to snap out of it before she gets too relaxed from all her success. The comments weren't holding back at all, with people telling her to get it together, warning that eating that many desserts would make her gain so much weight, and concern trolling about how she seemed drunk on success and needed to keep her form with a comeback just around the corner. The cherry on top of this endless hate cake is that nowadays, netizens have become so obsessed with tearing her down that they're convinced even her own group members secretly hate her, analyzing every single interaction between IVE to find proof that the favoritism and alleged main character behavior have created tension within the group. The latest so-called evidence of this came from the Fact Music Awards in September 2025 when IVE went on stage to accept their awards. The poster of a video showing IVE walking on stage claimed that Wonyoung wasn't supposed to be the one picking up the trophy, but somehow managed to grab it anyway, suggesting she was once again stealing the spotlight from Yoo-jin, who, as the group's leader, should have been the one accepting awards on behalf of the team. The video went on to show other supposed moments of tension between the two, serving as proof that they dislike each other in secret. Antis took this moment to once again criticize Wonyoung for always feeling the need to be the center of attention, even calling her embarrassing. The alleged evidence of Wonyoung being disliked by her members didn't stop at award shows though, because netizens have also been obsessively tracking which members hang out together outside of official schedules. A viral post on Pan claimed that the group seems closed off aside from Wonyoung, pointing to an instance where the members grabbed dinner together without her. Netizens took this as proof that the girls are tired of her and her constant drama, and that they're deliberately excluding her from their social activities. However, defenders were quick to point out that Wonyoung is overwhelmingly busy on her own, being arguably one of the most in-demand female idols in Korea, with constant brand deals, solo schedules, and appearances that make it almost impossible to join a casual hangout. In the end, the idea that she is so universally disliked that even her own members can't stand her has become yet another layer to this never-ending hate train that refuses to acknowledge that maybe a successful young woman can exist without being the villain everyone is desperate to make her out to be. Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to not miss any videos. While Wonyoung was dealing with her own hate train, another story was unfolding that would dominate 2024. SSERAFIM were one of the top groups of the fourth generation, and it seemed like they were going to be on top for a long time. But who knew that a single performance would lead to SSERAFIM being the target of one of the worst hate trains we have witnessed, and that it would completely tarnish their reputation? SSERAFIM had their own share of troubles even before they properly debuted. As the members were still being introduced, Garam's first accuser came forward, and well, we know what happened afterwards. This, in addition to some controversy regarding the members' outfits and their dance moves, made SSERAFIM quite the scandalous group from the very beginning. However, the girls managed to recover pretty well and kept promoting without Garam as if nothing had happened, and once she left the group, they didn't let it affect them. Then they had their comeback with Anti-Fragile, which shot them to levels of fame they never imagined. Sure, they were already popular for being the first girl group to debut under HYBE, but their debut song Fearless had been considered as underwhelming in comparison to other debut songs of their peers. Anti-Fragile, on the other hand, became an instant hit and broke several records in addition to topping the charts. It also became a favorite among the public, and the group got a lot of new fans because of it. This is pretty much when SSERAFIM became one of the top groups of the fourth generation, and from then on, it was only a way upward. While their next comeback, Unforgiven, wasn't as loved, their B-side track Eve, Psyche, and the Bluebeard's Wife went viral not only in Korea, but also internationally. They became even more popular when they released Perfect Night, which was a promotional single for the video game Overwatch 2 and was entirely in English. Despite that, the song made history as the first English song by a K-pop female artist to dominate digital and streaming charts for 3 straight weeks. It secured the second spot in the global K-pop category on the Circle chart right after BTS Jungkook's Standing Next to You. On Melon, it reigned over the daily chart for 24 days straight, and it led the real-time Top 100 chart for quite a while, setting the record for the longest consecutive run on the daily chart among English songs by K-pop female artists. English songs typically tend to struggle on Korean charts, so for SSERAFIM to reach the top of Melon's weekly chart in 2023 was quite quite the big deal. In addition to all of this, in January of this year, it was announced that SSERAFIM, ITZY, and the RIIZE would all be performing at the Coachella Festival, which only solidified their girls' status in the industry. Then they released Easy and everything went downhill. A few days after it was announced that the group would be performing at Coachella, it was also reported that they would be having a comeback, which had fans excited over what they would be releasing next. Little did everyone know, though, that this era would be their worst due to various controversies. Don't get us wrong, the songs and the album overall were good, but the teasers, the music video, the choreographies, the outfits, and the performances were the causes of multiple scandals that turned SSERAFIM from one of the most popular girl groups to one of the most hated. Firstly, an outfit that Yeonjun wore in the comeback trailer Good Bones received a lot of criticism as she was wearing a sports bra and shorts that resembled underwear. Many netizens found this outfit scandalous, leading Yeonjun to face backlash. People also compared the trailer to Olivia Rodrigo's hit song Bad Idea Right, leading to accusations of plagiarism. However, in comparison to other events, these were relatively small problems. Initially, when Easy came out, it was praised left and right before people started noticing a lot of things that bothered them. First, the girls were called disrespectful as people discovered that the music video for the title track was filmed in a church. It also featured Christian symbols such as nuns, and the crosses on the church were replaced by the group's logo, which a lot of netizens found offensive. Even the group's logo was allegedly reminiscent of Christian imagery as it combined a heart, fire, and an arrow, which made people concerned about the use of religion as a visual element. They also noted that the group's name, SSERAFIM, could also be derived from the Seraphim, which also has connections to Christianity. However, fans of the group pointed out that the church where the music video was shot has been used in other music videos like My Chemical Romance's Helena and movies like The Amazing Spider-Man and John Wick, so they were definitely not the only ones who filmed there. However, this issue fizzled out pretty quickly, not because people were no longer offended, but because Smart, the B-side track, got a lot more backlash. The song gained a lot of popularity on TikTok and Twitter because of its choreography, but there were aspects that sparked controversy. Many netizens felt the song resembled tracks like Water by Tyla, Woman by Doja Cat, and Calm Down by Rima and Selena Gomez. Some even accused the group of plagiarizing the choreography from Water and imitating Tyla's accent in some parts of the song, leading to accusations of appropriating Black culture. Most of the dance moves were also deemed too inappropriate, considering the fact that Eunchae, one of the members, is still a minor. That was only the beginning of the worst hate train that SSERAFIM would receive ever since their debut. On February 29th, the girls won first place on Mnet's M Countdown against Twice and celebrated with an encore performance. However, the performance fell short of expectations, with some critics going as far as to call it a complete disaster. Looking at the comments and posts following the performance, you would think that the girls did something unforgivable and committed the most horrendous act ever. Of course, it was normal to give criticism where it was due, but this went beyond criticism because it seemed like people had been looking for a reason to hate the girls and were going crazy with hate as soon as they found it. They had comments insulting their appearances, bringing their families into it, and even wishing harm upon them, just because people don't like their vocals. It's as if SSERAFIM were the first group ever in K-pop to have a bad encore performance, and they were single-handedly responsible for ruining the industry. The criticism persisted even during later encore stages as SSERAFIM continued to win on music shows. The hate towards the girls kept growing every day, culminating in their Coachella performance when everything blew up. The group took the stage on April 13th and April 21st, just a year and a half after their debut, making history as the fastest Korean act to perform there. However, despite the girls' enthusiastic performances, their live vocals received criticism once again, with multiple posts appearing on online forums and other social media. Again, giving constructive criticism is fine, even welcomed, but these people weren't focused on actually giving their unbiased opinions of the performance, especially if we were to look at the comments the girls received. The people were straight up wishing them the worst things imaginable, with many making countless threads about how bad the performance was and dissecting every part of it to justify their hatred. Mind you, the people that actually attended the performance had a good time, yet it was people on Twitter and the KOO acting like they had paid good money to see the performance and were let down by it. In addition to that, the girls' personal Instagram accounts were flooded with hate comments, prompting Instagram to step in and add warning signs to their comment sections. It has also been discovered that most of the users that have been writing nasty comments under their posts were new accounts with no followers, which just means that someone out there is creating new accounts to specifically hate on them. If that doesn't scream hate train, we don't know what does. They also faced various threats to the extent that Eunchae's cousin posted a story to try to halt the vicious comments they were receiving. As you can see, things were getting out of control. You would think that once the Coachella performances would be forgotten, then people would move on to something else. Maybe that would be true if the whole feud between Bong Si-hyuk and Min Hee-jin didn't happen. Of course, neither are connected to SSERAFIM, yet they were still dragged into the issue and became one of the main targets of netizens. After Min Heejin revealed that HYBE had promised to debut NewJeans first but changed their mind and pushed SSERAFIM's debut, they became the center of the conversation. They were blamed for the disbandment of G-Friend, were accused of power-tripping NewJeans and getting treated better than them, and were also criticized for going to a concert. Even when Min Heejin revealed the screenshots of Bang Shi-hyuk telling Min Heejin to crush aespa, it was SSERAFIM that got dragged. Let's not even get into all the heat they got after HYBE was accused of being involved in a cult, as people said that the company was using the girls to deliver the messages of the cult. No matter how dumb the situation may sound though, all of SSERAFIM's videos on YouTube are filled with netizens harassing them, and their peers can't even interact with the members without backlash. For example, Zico posted a TikTok challenge with the girls to promote his newest release, Spot, and all the people in the comment section were either calling them his dancers or bringing up their singing skills, even though the video had nothing to do with their vocals. Even after everything, the group is still reaching new milestones and their success has largely been unaffected, but it's still heartbreaking to see them being treated worse than some criminals. They're getting called national embarrassment by international fans for a widely enjoyed performance and are getting threatened left and right. We can only hope that the company takes action against this because the girls don't need to deal with all of this. Let's just hope that they're okay and that next time they stand on stage, it will be an unforgettable experience. And the hate didn't stop there, as by 2025, the group was facing even more backlash, raising questions about what was really going on. SSERAFIM has been no stranger to controversy, but their recent comebacks have put them at the center of some of the most heated plagiarism accusations. The most recent one of these in particular has truly enraged audiences, and they're coming out with all of the proofs and receipts. But how much truth do these allegations hold? It began in February 2025 when SSERAFIM began teasing their 5th mini-album titled Hot. The promotional campaign was supposed to build anticipation for their lead single, Born Fire, which is set to drop on March 14th. Instead, it quickly turned into a battleground. As soon as the teasers went live, fans and critics alike began pointing out the similarities to existing works. One of the biggest points of contention was a specific teaser featuring member Yoonjin. In the clip, she moves through a plush fur-lined tunnel before stepping onto a giant hamster wheel. It was a striking visual, but not everyone saw it as original. Some sharp-eyed viewers quickly compared it to a Mugler perfume advertisement featuring model Anok Yae, which had eerily similar imagery, a model crawling through a furry tunnel and running inside a massive wheel. The resemblance was enough for people to start calling it out, with some accusing SSERAFIM's creative team of directly lifting the concept. But that was just the beginning. Another teaser featured member Chaewon with the word hot emblazoned across her chest, a bold stylistic choice that immediately reminded fans of Sabrina Carpenter's espresso promotions. In a widely circulated image, Sabrina had espresso written in bold letters on her back, making the comparison hard to ignore. Was it a mere coincidence, or had SSERAFIM stolen someone else's idea once again? Unfortunately for SSERAFIM, there were more allegations coming, like the comparison to ITZY. While this claim was a little more vague, some viewers insisted that SSERAFIM's hot teaser images bore a strong resemblance to ITZY's past photo shoots. Whether it was the styling, the poses, or the overall aesthetic, critics argued that there was an undeniable similarity between the two groups. Defenders of SSERAFIM, however, were quick to push back. Some pointed out that one of the most circulated plagiarism examples was nothing more than a standard group photo, with one commenter sarcastically noting, "They're just standing." Despite the lack of concrete proof, the accusations caught fire on social media. Hashtags calling out SSERAFIM trended on X, with users sarcastically asking, "Who's gonna be the next victim?" as if the group was systematically lifting ideas from one artist after another. The backlash gained so much traction that major media outlets started covering the controversy, reporting on the growing number of fans flooding comment sections with criticism. But all of this wasn't new to SSERAFIM. Just months before, in 2024, the group had faced an eerily similar situation with their crazy comeback. This time, the plagiarism allegations revolved around their supposed similarities to two major SM entertainment groups, aespa and Red Velvet. The conversation started in August 2024 when a viral post on a popular Korean forum accused SSERAFIM of copying aespa's visuals. The argument was that SSERAFIM's teaser images for Crazy featured bright neon lighting and distinctive hairstyles that some fans claimed looked way too much like aespa's past concepts. The discussion got even more specific when when some people honed in on Chaewon's styling, asking, "Is Kim Chaewon copying Winter again?" implying that her hair and look were directly inspired by aespa's Winter. The underlying accusation was that SSERAFIM was struggling to establish a unique identity and was instead borrowing ideas from other successful groups. And the aespa comparisons were just the start. Later in 2024, as SSERAFIM prepared to release a Japanese version of Crazy, another wave of accusations hit. This time, the target was Red Velvet's Chill Kill comeback from 2023. When SSERAFIM dropped their teaser photos, they featured the members dressed in black and white outfits shot in a vintage eerie atmosphere. Fans of Red Velvet immediately saw the resemblance to Chill Kill, which had been praised for its haunting retro aesthetic. Some critics were so convinced that they labeled SSERAFIM's concept a lower quality version of Red Velvet's original idea. But it did not stop there. Some people also pointed out similarities between SSERAFIM's teaser videos and Red Velvet's birthday music video, which had a whimsical, slightly retro party theme. It all added up to a larger narrative that was forming around SSERAFIM, a group that, in the eyes of its critics, had built its image by borrowing too heavily from others. As the backlash grew, so did the divide in opinions. Detractors were vocal, saying things like, "SSERAFIM seems to be the only fourth-gen group that can't find their own identity, and what's going on with them?" The repetition of these accusations made it seem like a pattern, leading some to speculate that it was not just a few unfortunate coincidences, but a deliberate strategy. One sarcastic comment summed up this sentiment, asking, "Did SSERAFIM have a spy in aespa's team?" Then things took a turn for the worse when a viral post on X compiled what it called plagiarism throughout their career, listing allegations for nearly every era. The list was extensive. Rosalia's Linda and Chicken Teriyaki were linked to their Unforgiven and Anti-Fragile eras, respectively, and their Easy era supposedly took elements from Tyla's Water, Doja Cat's Woman, and Velas's Cliché. But when you take a closer look at the evidence, a different story emerges, and it makes you wonder if the accusations hold any real truth or not. Take the viral comparison between SSERAFIM's Hot teaser and Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso promotions. It looked like a clear case of copying, except for one major issue. The Sabrina image wasn't even real. Fans quickly pointed out that it was a fan edit, not an official promo from Sabrina's team. The entire accusation was based on a manipulated image designed to stoke controversy. Then there was the comparison between SSERAFIM's Bornfire trailer and Anokyai's Mugler fragrance video. People soon realized that critics conveniently ignored the rest of the Mugler ad, which had little in common with SSERAFIM's teaser. One observer pointed out that if you put the full videos side by side, they looked nothing alike outside of those two cherry-picked moments. This kind of selective comparison was a common tactic, clipping out similar-looking scenes while ignoring the broader context. SSERAFIM's trailer had its own distinct sets, narrative, and choreography, none of which appeared in the Mugler video. Fashion-inspired visuals are common in K-pop, and avant-garde imagery like tunnels and wheels aren't unique to any single brand. If Mugler hasn't raised any concerns, was this really a case of plagiarism, or just a case of fans grasping at straws to blame SSERAFIM? The accusations against their Crazy era followed the same pattern. Neon lighting and vibrant hair colors have been a massive trend in K-pop, especially in 2023 and 2024. No single group owned the concept. If Chaewon and aespa's Winter both sported bold-colored bobs, did that mean one copied the other, or was it just a case of overlapping trends? Some fans insisted that SSERAFIM had repeatedly copied Winter's style, implying an ongoing pattern. But without clear proof beyond similar aesthetics, the accusation lacked real evidence. Then came the claims that SSERAFIM had copied Red Velvet's Chill Kill for their Japanese Crazy teasers. The resemblance between their photo shoots was undeniable, but there was a crucial detail missing from the accusation. The photographer behind both shoots was the same person, Cho Gi-sok. That fact alone explained why the two sets of photos might have a similar look. If a photographer has a signature style, is it plagiarism when their work across different projects shares visual elements? And even beyond that, Red Velvet's Chill Kill had a distinct horror thriller concept, while SSERAFIM's Japanese Crazy teasers leaned more into a noir fashion aesthetic. The overall moods might have felt similar, but the themes and execution were different. Yet critics ignored these nuances and continued pushing the plagiarism angle. When it came to their music and choreography, the allegations became even shakier. Some critics claimed that SSERAFIM's Easy era had borrowed from Tyla's Water, Doja Cat's Woman, and Velas's Cliché. But what exactly were they copying? Tyla's song had gone viral in late 2023, leading to countless dance challenges featuring fluid, wave-like movements. If SSERAFIM had a similar dance element in 2024, was that plagiarism or just the influence of a popular trend? Afrobeat-inspired pop songs like Doja Cat's Woman had also been dominating global charts, making it no surprise that multiple artists were experimenting with similar sounds. And yet, none of the accusers pointed to any direct melody lifts, lyric similarities, or choreography that matched move for move move. Without clear-cut evidence, these claims felt more like grasping at straws. Social media played a huge role in fueling the narrative. A common tactic was to phrase accusations as if they were breaking news. One viral tweet read, "Breaking news, SSERAFIM have been seen plagiarizing Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter for their hot concept photos, with attached images for proof." But the way it was framed made it seem like an official report rather than a fan-made accusation. Many of these posts came from accounts with clear biases. One high-profile accuser even had a handle like BTS Flop, signaling an anti-HYBE agenda. These kinds of tweets spread rapidly, and by the time fans of SSERAFIM debunked the claims, the misinformation had already reached thousands of people. Despite the backlash, neither SSERAFIM nor their agency has directly addressed the accusations. Maybe they see it as baseless noise, or maybe they know that responding would only add fuel to the fire. Either way, the scrutiny isn't likely to go away anytime soon. Every new comeback will bring fresh comparisons, and as long as people are looking for them, they'll find something to pick apart even if it doesn't make sense at all. It looks like some K-pop fans are determined to paint SSERAFIM in a bad light, even if it means spreading false claims to make it happen. Yet as SSERAFIM fought through the storm, another rookie group quickly became the new target. ILLIT went from one of the most praised newly debuted groups in the industry to the most hated K-pop rookie group in less than a month. But how did they fall from grace so fast, and who is to blame for this turn of events? To an outsider, it may seem like ILLIT's hate train started when Min Hee-jin, the CEO of Adore who houses New Jeans, raised accusations against the group claiming that they copied New Jeans' whole concept all the way from choreography to visuals. However, to think that this was the beginning of the insane hate train would be wrong because it had started way before Min Hee-jin's statement came out. ILLIT faced their fair share of troubles even before they debuted. The survival show Are You Next?, where the members competed for a chance to debut, didn't exactly put them in a favorable light. There were accusations of rigging flying around as soon as the final lineup was revealed, and to some viewers the competition wasn't based on fairness and objective criteria. It seemed like HYBE and BLACKPINK had a clear vision about who would get to debut from the beginning, and that's why this was the first step for many people to voice their dislike towards ILLIT, although it wasn't the members' fault. Soon after that, fans and viewers who ended up liking the final lineup of the group were left puzzled again because it was revealed that one of the members, Young-so, decided to abruptly leave the group before the debut. The announcement came out of nowhere and was issued by BLACKPINK. In their official statement, they claimed that they have decided to end the exclusive contract with Young-so after careful talks. This could hint at two possibilities. One, Young-so herself decided to withdraw from the group due to her own personal reasons, or two, BLACKPINK and HYBE thought it would be best to have a group with only 5 members instead of 6. Although the agency wished her the best for her future endeavors and asked the fans to not speculate about her departure, the exact opposite ended up happening. To those who were cheering for ILLIT, it simply made no sense why one of the most popular trainees would suddenly decide to quit before even debuting. All that after spending so much time on training and winning the hearts of the public? In fact, before the company made the announcement about her departure, fans were already suspicious about something strange happening behind the scenes. The first clues that something wasn't right came at the end of 2023 and right at the beginning of 2024 before the announcement of Young-so's departure hit the public. Fans pointed out that Young-so was absent on multiple occasions from filming the group's content. And she also stopped posting updates and wasn't active whatsoever weeks preceding the shocking news. BLACKPINK had no choice but to confirm that she left the group, and that was the reason for her absence from all the group schedules. However, that's when the speculation started running wild. As one fan put it best, "I don't think she would voluntarily quit her debut with a major label." And that's most likely true. Although these are just rumors, it appears that HYBE and BLACKPINK decided to drop Young-so off on their own and just announced their decision to her mere weeks before the group's debut. Now, you may think that after all these mishaps, the group's debut would go well, and to some extent it exceeded all the expectations, but on the other hand, it also attracted a lot of negative attention. ILLIT debuted with their lead single Magnetic and mini-album Super Real Me on March 25th. The song itself was absolutely amazing and immediately became a hit. ILLIT became the fastest K-pop group to break the Spotify record after their song Magnetic received over 100 million streams in only 27 days, and their mini-album broke the record as it sold over 380,000 copies in the first week. To think that these numbers were achieved by a rookie group that just debuted sounded a little bit too suspicious to many netizens, though. As soon as their song climbed the charts, people raised accusations that HYBE was using payola and unfair practices to get the group to the top. It simply literally sounded like it wasn't possible for the song to do so well when the general public had no clue who ILLIT were and their fanbase wasn't even that big to begin with since RU Next failed to attract enough attention in the K-pop community. However, it seems like many K-pop fans forget that there are also just casual listeners who probably really enjoyed ILLIT's music. But from a certain perspective, it's not really that strange that a portion of K-pop fans thought that something was fishy because the group already received a massive amount of hate when they were invited to Paris Fashion Week before their debut. People were left baffled by this because why was a group that hadn't even debuted yet being invited to a major fashion event? They had no influence or selling power at that point, so it appeared as if HYBE was buying the girls a few spots and appearances. Now, considering how things turned out, the Paris Fashion Week appearance was a bad move in every way possible because the members immediately got the label HYBE privilege attached to their name. But despite how successful Magnetic and Super Real Me got, ILLIT couldn't catch a break because their encore performances gave them yet another label, and this time it was much worse. On April 2nd, the group won first place on the show, but when it was time to do the encore stage, that's when the real trouble started. Their performance went viral for all the wrong reasons as they were labeled as one of the worst singers in the industry. The criticism was targeted at every member, but mostly at Mocha and Iroha. One netizen commented, "They are all tone deaf. It was so bad. What did I just watch?" This continued with another encore stage to which the group received the same feedback. What didn't help this situation whatsoever was the fact that at the same time, another HYBE group was getting negative feedback for their singing skills, and it was SSERAFIM. Both Korean and international netizens all over the internet expressed their thoughts on the situation, one of them writing, "HYBE only cares about charting, they don't care if their artists embarrass themselves." Now the situation was already bad, but it got 100 times worse once Min Hee-jin accused ILLIT's creative team of copying New Jeans. So if you don't know what happened, HYBE asked the CEO of Adore and the mastermind behind New Jeans to step down from her position as CEO on April 22nd because they claimed that she tried to do a takeover and cut HYBE off. While the K-pop community was baffled by this breaking news, Min Hee-jin responded with a public statement in which she alleged that HYBE asked her to leave the company because she raised a complaint about ILLIT stealing New Jeans' concept and not because she tried to cut off HYBE. Min Hee-jin said, "After ILLIT's teaser photos were released, there was an explosive reaction online with people who thought it was New Jeans. ILLIT's hair and makeup styles, outfits, choreographies, photos, videos, and public events have been copying New Jeans." She continued to claim that this wasn't just Belift Lab's mistake, but also HYBE's and Bong Si-hyuk's because they were, according to her, blindsided by profits and wanted to copy the New Jeans formula that she carefully crafted on her own. After this explosive statement, many people started to not only attack ILLIT, but also New Jeans and Min Hee-jin herself because it appeared as if she was accusing the members of stealing the New Jeans concept. But when Min Hee-jin held the viral press conference, she clarified that she never meant that it was the ILLIT members' plan to copy New Jeans, but that it was their team and the adults in the company who did that. The likeness of ILLIT to New Jeans is undeniable to the point that even Culted, a media and entertainment company, went as far as sharing a TikTok video on their official account confusing ILLIT with New Jeans. Both groups have 5 members and all of them are dressed in similar outfits and even made to do similar music, so it doesn't seem that far-fetched to think that HYBE wanted to create New Jeans 2.0. Based on what Min Hee-jin revealed, Bong Si-hyuk didn't like the fact that New Jeans became so successful, and it's been alleged that it was because he wasn't the one who produced them, and so he wanted to make a spin-off of that group so that he could have them attached to his name and not Min Hee-jin's. This sentiment was further fueled by the fact that he never congratulated New Jeans on their debut, and he didn't post a single photo with the group on his Instagram despite posting photos with every other group that is under HYBE. This brings us to the real reason why ILLIT are so unfortunate when it comes to the hate they are receiving. No matter how good their music is, and trust us when we say that we streamed the heck out of Magnetic, the way their debut has been handled by HYBE is a curse for them. It's extremely sad to see how their potential was wasted just to seemingly prove a point or compete with their label mates from HYBE. As Min Hee-jin said, it appears that HYBE is simply blindsided by the profits and they don't care about how original or unique the group is. They seem to rush their group's debuts just for the sake of debuting them and completely disregard that maybe the members aren't really prepared for the debut or that their concepts may overlap a bit too much with other groups. Min Hee-jin herself claimed that HYBE even rushed the SSERAFIM debut despite promising her that New Jeans would be the first girl group to debut under HYBE. What this tells us is that maybe if HYBE waited a bit more with debuting new artists and perhaps first focused on improving their performance skills and listened to their ideas, it might not always backfire in their faces. Sadly, the victims in the process ended up being ILLIT, and it will most likely take them a lot of effort to lose the label of copycats and bad singers. Let's just hope that their uniqueness will get a chance to stand out and that they'll continue to be successful. But hate trains aren't just for rookies. Even Jennie, one of K-pop's biggest stars, was deeply affected by the constant criticism. K-pop idols are aware that once they get famous, they'll get hate or criticism, whether it's deserving or not, but sometimes this gets too excessive. A perfect example of this is BLACKPINK's Jennie, who has seemingly stopped enjoying the things that she loves because she could be misunderstood and as a result, hated on. Jennie is definitely very passionate about her job and everything she does. From singing and performing to even fashion, it's obvious that Jennie puts her blood, sweat, and tears into her work. But over the years, that passion seems to have faded, and nobody can blame her for it. Even before she made her debut with BLACKPINK, Jennie had her own little fan base of people who were excited to see her debut. In 2013, she had been spotted meeting fans outside YG's building, and the other YG Entertainment trainees were asked to deliver the fans gifts to Jennie. Whether it was because she had appeared on G-Dragon's music video or some other reason, people had noticed that she had the it factor to become an idol and were looking forward to seeing her on stage. Once her first practice video was posted in 2012, she became the first trainee in Kpop to trend at #1 on Naver and even managed to trend on the top 5 worldwide. This alone got her hate, as YG Entertainment was ignoring 21 at the time, and the frustrated fans directed their anger at Jennie rather than the company. Some people felt threatened by her popularity even then, saying that Jennie had slept her way into debuting or started dating rumors between her and G-Dragon. Nevertheless, Jennie's love for her work didn't diminish in the slightest. She still loved being an idol and trained hard for 6 years before making her official debut in 2016. If you watch BLACKPINK's videos of performing Boombayah, you can see just how energetic Jennie was. She puts a lot of effort into her performance, and she interacted with the crowd and captivates the audience in a way that's just fascinating to watch. Even if BLACKPINK had just debuted, Jennie had turned into a fan favorite for even casual listeners. But that didn't matter much because the hate against her only kept growing, especially seeing just how successful the group was from the beginning and how popular Jennie was getting with every day. She started getting accused of being favored by the company ever since 2016, with people saying that she was being pushed more than the other members, getting more screen time in lines, and having the best outfits out of the group. She was even dubbed the YG Princess, with netizens believing that she was YG's favorite and the other members being mistreated in her favor. However, it was proven time and time again that she wasn't favored by the company, and all the girls were equally mistreated. The stylist said that it's the members that choose their own outfits. The line distribution, except for Jisoo's parts, was pretty fair, and all the members also promoted a lot before and after debuting, so at that point, it became obvious that people were just inventing reasons to get mad at her. Then everything got worse when Solo was released. When it was announced that Jennie would be making her solo debut only 2 years after the group itself debuted, people went absolutely crazy. The YG Princess allegations were stronger than ever, as netizens were furious that she was the first member to get a solo. To them, it was also upsetting that she would be getting a solo before BLACKPINK got a full album, but again, this wasn't something that Jennie had a say in. Comments from netizens included things like, YG seriously likes Jennie so much, and I've been feeling it for a while now, but it feels like in BLACKPINK, they're really trying to push only Jennie. The hate against her reached an all-time high, as Jennie was villainized more and more for doing her job. YG Entertainment then announced that the other BLACKPINK members would be making their solo debut too, but people just thought that the company was trying to appease the angry crowd. Despite being the target of excessive hate, Jennie continued to show excitement for her job. She was very involved in the release of Solo, taking part in writing the lyrics, producing the solo diaries, which showed the behind the scenes of the making of the song, got involved in the choreography and the styling for the music video in all her performances. People ignored that she didn't get any promotions for this solo and wasn't allowed to do anything, but it seems like the hate was more important than the truth. Jennie continued to do her job and give amazing performance after amazing performance. The excitement that Jennie had for performing started fading out once she got hit with her lazy scandal. In 2018, a video with the title Jennie BLACKPINK Lazy Dance was uploaded, and Jennie was getting more hate than idols who had actually committed crimes. Netizens felt like Jennie was really falling behind compared to the other members, and according to them, that was an excuse to send her ridiculous amount of hate. The video was removed by YG Entertainment, but the damage had already been done. Jennie Lazy trended on every social media possible, there were tons of posts on online forums every day, and everyone seemed to come up with a new theory about why she wasn't dancing as well. She was accused of being spoiled and that she was giving bad performances due to the company's favoritism. They also claimed that she had let the fame get to her head to the point that she didn't care anymore. Even when people saw the pictures of her with her ankle all bandaged up in crutches, they accused her of trying to get sympathy from the public, even though there were actual clips of her getting injured on stage. Jennie stayed out of the public eye for the time being, seeing as her very appearance was met with backlash and nasty comments. She only came back for her birthday, but instead of celebrating it with her fans, she apologized to them and thanked them for their support. She said, "There are so many times that I feel sorry for being lacking, and those are the times that I strengthen my resolve to work towards being a more reliable Denduki. Thank you for waiting for me and believing in me." Then it came out that she was really suffering from an injury and had been made to go up on stage instead of taking the time for her ankle to properly heal. She couldn't even walk, yet she went and put up a performance for fans and was still villainized for it. The accusations that she's lazy come up to this day. That's how big the scandal still is. The fact that she wasn't to blame for all this wasn't any surprise and pretty much expected, but with the hate train getting bigger and bigger every day, it didn't matter who was the guilty party. In everyone's eyes, Jennie was the villain. It seems like it was this scandal that made Jennie realize that no matter what she did, no matter how she behaved or performed, people weren't going to care about her nor her hard work and would twist her intentions into something sinister. This just happened recently when she had just been partying and having fun with her friends and was shamed for enjoying her life as an adult woman, being called the vilest of names, and was even rumored to be dating a man who's openly gay and married. Blackpink fans have noticed that all the hate and criticism that their idol has received in the past has made her a lot more reserved and quiet. She was also accused of being rude to the media and fans at the airport, with multiple articles coming out online about her alleged bad behavior. It turned out that Jennie had actually greeted everyone, but even the media took advantage of how quick people are to hate her that they completely twisted a situation to her disadvantage. After all that's been happening to her, nobody would blame Jennie if she were to shut everyone out. And let's not get something twisted. Jennie is still an incredible artist, and this gets proven with every show of the Born Pink tour. She also still smiles brightly and performs like rent is due and the eviction notice is taped to the door, but it looks like the excessive hate has started taking a toll on her. Being in a position where everything she does and says is heavily monitored and could be used against her, there's not that much she could do except to try not to give people any material to work with. She isn't very expressive, doesn't open up a lot to fans about how she's feeling, and has become very timid, probably knowing that it won't do her any good if she were to express anything. Jennie has become dehumanized to the point that she doesn't seem to enjoy what she does anymore, and it's more than devastating to watch. She wouldn't be the first idol to change drastically after the hate that they've received, as BTS have noticed that Taehyung isn't the same as he was before. From someone who was smiling widely all the time and being really open to fans, he became someone who's quiet and likes to stay in the background and not get involved. Who can blame him and Jennie? Having people completely twist your intentions and actions into something malicious, weaponize the things that make you vulnerable against you, and wait for you to slip up so they can feel better about the fact that they hate you must really mess up with your mind. Though it's sad to see Jennie change over time, this is probably the only way the idols can control the situation and try to defend themselves against scenarios that could possibly hurt them. It must hurt for them too, since they obviously love their fans and want to feel closer to them, but if this is what it takes for them to feel safe, then so be it. Anything for them to be happy. And while Jennie's struggles became obvious on stage, Manon from KATSEYE is now at the center of her own growing hate campaign. KATSEYE's popularity has been rising with every release, but the spotlight has suddenly shifted, and not for a good reason. One member, Manon, seems to be quietly pushed aside, and fans are starting to notice. From the company's silence on the hate she constantly receives to her suspicious absence from official content, something feels off. So here's what's really going on behind the scenes and why fans are demanding answers. The doubts surrounding Manon's treatment started bubbling up when Netflix dropped Pop Star Academy, KATSEYE, the documentary that followed the girl's journey to debut. While the series sparked plenty of drama, fans of Manon noticed something deeper, which is that her portrayal felt off. From the start, the show seemed to single her out, framing her as unmotivated and careless. One of the biggest talking points was how Manon missed practice while sick and broke curfew without facing any serious consequences. This became a major issue among the trainees and viewers alike, and by the time the survival show began and Manon placed surprisingly high high, it had many people questioning how she got there in the first place. But longtime supporters weren't buying the narrative. They believed Manon had been deliberately edited to appear lazy, fueling negativity that didn't exist during the survival show itself. After the documentary aired, people suddenly began using her past absences as proof she didn't deserve her spot in KATSEYE, ignoring the context and overlooking how new she was to the intense K-pop system. Unfortunately, that portrayal stuck, and it's been following her ever since. Even after debut, whenever Manon was absent from group schedules, the same old narrative resurfaced, with people claiming she was just lazy or uncommitted. It didn't matter what the real reason was, that image from the documentary had stuck, and now it was being used to explain away everything, but we'll come back to that later. In fact, during the one-year reunion livestream on YouTube, the members were asked how it felt to watch their early days on screen. Manon admitted it was hard to sit through. She said she kept pausing the documentary because it was painful to watch and made her want to scream. Later, Missy brought up how some trainees and even staff had questioned Manon's commitment during that time. Manon explained that when she joined, she didn't know much about K-pop or how the trainee system worked. She wasn't familiar with the discipline it required or what the competition involved. She admitted she struggled at first, not because she didn't care, but because she had no idea what she was stepping into. But once she understood how everything worked, she gave it her all. Even so, the way she was portrayed in the documentary still bothered her, especially since it didn't reflect who she had become. She ended it with, "If things were still like that, I would not be in this group by now. Do you know what I mean?" However, many were upset that Missy even brought up the topic at all. To them, revisiting that part of the past felt unnecessary, especially knowing how much hate Manon and the other members had already received because of the documentary. For a lot of viewers, Popstar planted the idea that the group didn't like Manon or that there was constant tension between her and the others, something they might not have believed without seeing how she was portrayed, and those assumptions didn't just fade away. After the reunion livestream went public, Manon was hit with another wave of hate. The same accusations resurfaced, with people calling her lazy and claiming it wouldn't be surprising if she left the group soon, so the assumptions that started with the documentary were still following her. Although Manon quickly became one of the most popular members, she was still treated like a backup dancer, especially during the choreography for their debut song Debut. Watching any performance of the song where all members are present, it's clear that Manon is almost always positioned at the back, often hidden behind another member. Fans even timed how long she stayed in the back, and it added up to 25 seconds in total. This happened even when the members rotated positions, which made it look intentional. While some argued that creating choreography to highlight an even number of members is challenging, many pointed out that other groups have managed it easily without pushing any member to the background. As a Reddit user wrote, "ATEEZ does a lot of interesting things with verticality to reveal members hidden behind. I understand why people say it's better to have an odd number of members, but it's really a minor issue that's easily overcome." Many viewed Manon's treatment as unfair and discriminatory. Critics accused HYBE and Geffen of adding her to the group just to appear diverse, only to keep her hidden in the background during most performances. On top of that, Manon only had a total of 1 minute and 10 seconds of singing lines throughout their entire first mini-album, Soft is Strong. This fueled even more claims that the company was deliberately sidelining her. Now let's go back to the accusations of Manon being lazy. To explain, fans and casual viewers alike noticed that KATSEYE often had members missing from important performances and promotions. Daniela was missing from the debut performance video, Megan was absent from the Good Morning America performance, the Kelly Clarkson show, the My Way lyrics video, and the Chuseok video message. Lara was also only partly present in the Game Boy music video. Meanwhile, Manon missed KATSEYE's Mama performance, their Genius interview, and more recently, the Gabriella performance video. All these absences happened because the members were dealing with injuries or health issues, so most fans were pretty understanding about it. In fact, this pattern of missing members became a running joke within the fandom, but also caused concern for many fans. Some blamed HYBE for pushing the members with extreme schedules, while others believed it was good that the members weren't forced to perform while dealing with health issues. However, many others didn't see it that way and focused all the blame on Manon. They claimed she wasn't experiencing any health problems and was simply unable to keep up with the rest of the group. According to them, she was less talented and less committed, which explained why she missed so many schedules. Some even went as far as accusing her of faking illness to avoid dancing with the others. Ignoring the fact that the other members had also been missing from content and performances, these so-called fans instead blamed Manon and built narratives around her that were based on basically nothing. All of this is because HYBE and and Geffen had already started that narrative in the documentary, had done nothing to correct it, and were more than happy to have the negative attention become a way to market the group, not even caring that it was at the cost of Manon's reputation. So every time Manon missed a performance, like the Mama stage or the Gabriella performance video, people jumped to the same conclusion, which is that she just couldn't keep up. Even in the performances and choreographies where Manon was present, like debut, many people claimed she was pushed to the back because she supposedly didn't know the dance well. They said the group was under a tight deadline, which meant she had to stay out of the spotlight. But the facts tell a different story. Take the Mama performance choreography, for example. Many assumed it was too hard for her, but the routine was mostly simple cheerleader moves and a short dance break. Nothing new or overly complicated. In fact, she was seen practicing the choreography before she got sick, showing she was more than capable of handling it. To push back against these unfair claims, Manon even did a split on a live stream to prove her skills weren't lacking. The idea that Manon didn't know the debut choreography also doesn't add up. On Popstar Academy, even though she had no prior dance training, she kept pace with and often outperformed trainees who had been practicing much longer. So it doesn't make sense to think she couldn't learn the routine after months of rehearsals. As for the Gabriella performance video, she clearly learned the choreography as she's in the music video dancing, and she shared a video on Weverse of the group rehearsing the song for their upcoming tour. However, prior to recent weeks, concerns about Manon's treatment were often dismissed as overreactions from her fans. But recent events have shifted opinions, leading many to believe she might be deliberately excluded or pushed aside within the group. It began with the surprise release of the Gabriella performance video in Manon's absence. The company later explained she wasn't present due to a sprained ankle, but fans questioned why Hybe and Geffen didn't find ways to include her. Some suggested waiting until she healed before filming, while others pointed out that Lara had managed to appear in the Game Boy music video despite similar issues. Though others argued rescheduling was complicated by contracts and logistics, many still found it odd that Manon didn't even get a solo picture. Unlike the other members, fans felt she could have at least had a still photo taken, even if she couldn't perform. This wasn't an isolated case. During the group's collaboration with beauty brand Glossier, Manon participated in photo shoots and videos, but another incident raised eyebrows. When a billboard for the campaign went up, the members posed for pictures in front of it. Manon was sick that day and couldn't join, which was understandable. Yet when the photos were released, fans noticed the angle was chosen so that Yoonchae's head completely covered Manon's face. While likely unintentional and not a deliberate attempt to hide her, it still felt suspicious to many. The company could have easily shared another photo where Manon was fully visible, but they didn't. These moments have only fueled the belief that Manon is being pushed to the sidelines, whether intentionally or not. Then there's the Monster High collab. Recently, KATSEYE partnered with Mattel for a Monster High collaboration where they remixed Monster High's 2010 anthem, Fright Song, and released a music video to accompany it. Each member was also given a custom Monster High doll designed to reflect their signature style. The official KATSEYE TikTok account even posted a video showing the members receiving their dolls and talking about them. Although Manon was featured on the video's thumbnail, she barely appeared in the footage itself. Every other member got a chance to share their thoughts about their dolls, but Manon was noticeably absent from these moments. She only appeared for about 2 seconds in total and was even cut out of scenes where the members were talking to each other. It's clear she had plenty to say too. In an interview with Hype Bae, Manon described her doll as a sea monster and explained how important it was to her that the doll included key features like her moles, waist beads, and braids. She ended by expressing how much she loved her doll, which made her near invisibility in the TikTok video all the more confusing and concerning to fans. A Twitter user also weighed in saying, "To me, as a black girl, seeing a doll that resembles you, even down to the braids, had to have been a huge moment for Manon. Why would you rob the fans of seeing her joy and excitement over this?" Manon's exclusion isn't just happening on TikTok, where fans have noticed she often appears in thumbnails but barely shows up in the actual videos. Additionally, in the Hype Bae interview, all the members had individual photos on the website, except for Manon. According to the beauty editor, her solo shot was missing because the company never sent it. The odd behavior extends to the official Monster High Instagram account as well. While all the other members have posted about the dolls and the collaboration, and the account has liked and commented on their posts, Manon's posts have been ignored completely. All of this has sparked a strong reaction from fans. Major fan accounts have gone on strike, boycotting any content from the company and refusing to share updates until this issue is properly addressed. They've also sent mass emails demanding that the company take legal action against those spreading rumors and defaming the members, calling for the situation to be cleared up once and for all. Fans firmly believe that Manon deserves her place just as much as anyone else in the group and should not have to face ongoing disrespect or exclusion, especially from the company that's supposed to protect them. But this pattern isn't new. Just this year, T.O.P. once again became one of the most unfairly targeted idols in the industry. After the release of Squid Game Season 2, it didn't take long for Korean media to publish a wave of negative articles targeting T.O.P., who plays the role of Thanos in the series. This led to fans speculating that the articles might be part of a coordinated effort to tarnish his image, and many believe the evidence strongly supports this theory. Ever since 2019, news about former Big Bang member T.O.P. has been few and far between, as he has decided to step away from the public eye for a bit. For those who may not be familiar with the events that led to T.O.P.'s hiatus from the K-pop industry, let's take a quick look back at what happened. T.O.P. began his 2-year mandatory military service in 2017 as a conscripted police officer, with his discharge scheduled for 2018. However, in May of that year, news broke that he would be prosecuted without detention for using illegal substances. As a result, T.O.P. was transferred to a different police division to await prosecution and was suspended from his police duties while waiting for the outcome of his case. In response, he issued a handwritten apology promising, "I will never make such an irresponsible mistake again." During that time, T.O.P. was bashed with an overwhelming wave of hate comments, some of which accumulated thousands of likes across various Korean media platforms. The comments were filled with so much venom and became so intense that fans began to genuinely worry about his well-being. At one point, a photo surfaced of T.O.P. in a police uniform at the police station where he was stationed, with a small smile on his face. This moment quickly became a target for criticism, with hate comments eagerly seizing the opportunity to drag him through the mud, focusing on that smile. However, for his fans, it didn't seem like the smile of someone who was unrepentant or indifferent to his actions. Instead, it appeared to be the expression of someone deeply struggling and perhaps even on the brink of giving up. Unfortunately, it turned out to be true, as only a few days after issuing his apology, T.O.P. was discovered unconscious in the police barracks, seemingly due to an overdose of anti-anxiety medication. He was immediately rushed to the hospital for emergency care. Following a thorough investigation, it was revealed that T.O.P. had been a regular user of sedatives, but on that particular day, he had taken a higher dosage than prescribed, leading to a dangerous and harmful outcome. Thankfully, on June 8, 2017, T.O.P.'s mother confirmed that he had regained consciousness and was recovering. On June 29th, during his first trial at the Seoul Central District Court, T.O.P. pled guilty, admitting to smoking illegally on 4 occasions, and was sentenced to 2 years of probation. The trial also revealed that T.O.P. had engaged in illegal activities with the controversial actress and his ex-girlfriend, Soohee, at least 3 times. Following a disciplinary review to determine whether he would return as a conscripted policeman or complete his service as a public service worker, T.O.P. was reassigned to a member of a military reserve force status by the authorities. He was transferred from the police force and resumed his mandatory service as a public service officer on January 26, 2018, being ultimately discharged from his service on July 6, 2019. The situation raised questions about his mental health and the exact reasons behind his use of anti-anxiety medication. However, when this scandal was revisited years later, fans were quick to recall how T.O.P. had shed light on the harsh realities of being an idol and how it affected his mental health for the worse. During an interview with Prestige Online in 2022, he shared that he had struggled with depression since a young age, feeling unusually sensitive compared to others. T.O.P. also addressed his 2017 scandal, referring to it as one of the biggest news stories in Korea, and described it as the worst moment of his life. Despite this, the aftermath of the scandal had the most significant impact on T.O.P., and he revealed just how deeply it affected his mental health, even leading to his attempts at self-harm. Although T.O.P. received extreme backlash in the past, with every media company calling him out, he also highlighted Korea's high rates of self-inflicted harm and pointed out that mental health still remains a taboo subject within the country's traditional society. Now, as T.O.P. was making his long-awaited return to the screen after an extended break, many might have expected a warm and enthusiastic reception. However, people didn't forget his past scandal and were not quite prepared to accept his comeback. This whole controversy began on June 28, 2023, when it was officially announced that T.O.P. would be joining the cast of Squid Game 2 as Player 230, a retired rapper who becomes a victim of a crypto investment scam. One notable trait of T.O.P.'s character in the series is his impulsive nature, which seems to include said substance use, a portrayal that many believe too closely mirrored his real-life scandal. This also became an obvious reason for the ongoing criticism and backlash T.O.P. was receiving. Soon after photos of the cast preparing for filming were shared, Korean netizens quickly voiced their disapproval, with many stating they would not watch the series because of T.O.P.'s involvement. One comment specifically said, "I'm not watching. A criminal is appearing in it shamelessly." The backlash against the casting of T.O.P. in Squid Game became so intense that it led to calls for a boycott, with a significant amount of criticism aimed at his casting for the role. In response to the growing ongoing controversy, the director of Squid Game, Hwang Dong-hyuk, felt the need to defend the idol-turned-actor publicly in an interview with People. Referring to T.O.P by his Korean name, Choi Sung-hyun, he acknowledged the rumors swirling around the kind of character T.O.P would portray and highlighted the courage it took for the actor to take on such a controversial role. The director emphasized that he had faith in T.O.P's ability to bring the character to life and reassured the audience that T.O.P had been thoroughly screened for the role and his casting was a result of his proven talent and suitability for the character. He further expressed, "We decided that we had no choice but to prove to the viewers through the final result as to why this character and work had to go to T.O.P. That was why we did not cancel it and press through with it." However, when Squid Game finally premiered on December 26th, things did not go as expected. T.O.P's fans were overjoyed at the hope of seeing him back on screen, as many had eagerly awaited his return after his time away from the industry. But the situation took a turn, and T.O.P found himself at the center of a growing storm of backlash for multiple reasons. Viewers were eager to see the cause behind the highly controversial casting of T.O.P, but they were left deeply disappointed by his performance, which many critics found lacking. According to multiple Korean media outlets, T.O.P's acting fell short of expectations. In particular, MBC harshly criticized his portrayal, describing his character as unbearable and suggesting that a talented rookie should have been cast instead. They even went so far as to say that just watching T.O.P simply walk into a scene was unappealing. Meanwhile, Joy News expressed complete confusion at the director's decision to retain T.O.P for the role, even implying that the casting choice was more about generating publicity than providing a chance. The report also questioned whether the creators genuinely believed that by saying they deemed him suitable, viewers would simply accept their decision and move on. But when the report quoted, "Or did they assume that because the Squid Game series targets a global audience, the disappointment from Korean viewers could be ignored," it led netizens to believe that the creators underestimated the importance of the Korean audience's response. In fact, some even questioned whether T.O.P's casting was the result of using his connections. Netizens believed that despite director Hwang's denials, casting T.O.P, who had publicly clashed with fans on social media, announced he wouldn't be returning to Korea and hadn't acted since 2014 in the most globally successful K-drama project in history seems hard to justify unless it's connected to his close ties with the main cast of Squid Game. However, what initially appeared to be a minor issue soon escalated into something much larger when fans began to notice that T.O.P had been mysteriously removed from promotional materials, excluded from interview schedules for Squid Game 2, and didn't attend the highly anticipated production presentation event. But then came the international fans who stepped up to defend T.O.P. They praised his acting and what he brought to season 2, with one international fan commenting, "Did we all watch the same drama? 'Cause for me, he was one of the few things that are good in this otherwise utterly boring season of Squid Game." Additionally, fans discovered a clear difference in how Korean and international outlets were reacting, which seemed to extend to Netflix as well. They pointed out that while global Netflix accounts frequently posted clips highlighting T.O.P.'s portrayal of Thanos, Netflix Korea had not shared any content related to him at all. This highlighted director Hwang's point that exaggerated cartoonish characters like Thanos tend to be well received internationally but often feel out of place to Korean audiences, who generally prefer more grounded and serious portrayals. As a matter of fact, international fans also criticized the hypocrisy of netizens who only targeted T.O.P, despite several other Squid Game 2 cast members having faced more serious controversies. For example, Lee Jung-jae, who plays the main role in the show, has a history of DUIs and harassment allegations. Lee Jin-wook was accused of SA in 2016, though the charges were dropped, while veteran actor Oh Young-soo received an 8-month suspended sentence for SA. The most shocking case was Song Young-chung, or Player 100, who reportedly paid a 16-year-old girl for intimate services while married, resulting in a 10-month suspended sentence and 2 years of probation, but was released early. Fans expressed confusion about the unnecessary hate campaign against T.O.P, with one comment noting, "Song Young-chang was charged with underage intimate services, and they're worrying about T.O.P's cringe acting." Another thing that caught fans' attention was how the hate articles about T.O.P surfaced just 5 minutes after the show's release, despite him not appearing until the 3rd episode. This led fans to question whether the critics had actually seen his scenes before posting their reviews, or whether this was part of a hate campaign. Turns out that a press screening for episodes 1 through 7 took place on December 23rd, with a review event until the official release. Journalists had to sign an NDA and place their phones in special pouches that blocked camera functions from entering the screening venue. While it appears that reporters would have watched all 7 episodes, including T.O.P's scenes, before writing their reviews, it's ultimately up to fans to determine whether the criticism was authentic or not. However, when the backlash reached a boiling point, director director Hwang decided to address the situation head-on in an exclusive interview. He explained that casting the character was a complex process, and his team struggled to find an actor who could authentically portray the role of a troubled rapper, a storyline reflecting real-world social issues. He continued, "We held auditions for a long time looking for someone who could portray a hip-hop-loving, substance-using character, but I couldn't find anyone who met my criteria." T.O.P's name came up during the search, and although the director was initially hesitant due to the actor's extended break from the industry, he eventually decided to reach out to him. After several auditions and some doubts about whether T.O.P was ready, Hwang concluded that he was the right fit for the role. However, what he didn't expect was the intense backlash, as he expressed, "Given that it's been 6 to 7 years for Sunghyun, I thought enough time had passed for people to accept him. However, I was surprised by the backlash." At the very end, reflecting on the controversies and T.O.P's comments about not returning to Korea, Hwang realized the issue was more complicated than he had anticipated. But personally, he felt he couldn't simply exclude T.O.P from the project because he hadn't been forgiven by mentioning, "I wanted to work with him to create something that could show whether he could earn forgiveness." He wrapped up by stating that, in the end, it's up to the public to decide if they'll accept him again after seeing his work. Despite the director's repeated defense of casting T.O.P, it may still take a considerable amount of time for netizens to fully accept him. Only time will tell if public opinion can shift and whether he can ultimately win over the hate. And even beloved idols like IU weren't safe as her career was shaken by an intense wave of hate. The recent scandal surrounding Kim Soohyun and his controversial relationship with Kim Se-ron has led netizens to investigate all of Soohyun's friends, but no one got as much hate as IU, who now finds herself at the center of some wild conspiracy theories. The scandal exploded when, a few weeks after Se-ron took her own life, sources close to her family accused Soohyun of grooming her and starting a relationship with her when she was just 15 years old, and he was already 27. This revelation opened a Pandora's box of secrets hidden by Soohyun for years, and as the scandal grew bigger day by day, netizens started to look closely into his past and all the people who were close to him, including IU. Soohyun and IU met in 2011 when they worked together in the drama Dream High, and they apparently became friends pretty quickly and remained close over the years. They often showed their support for each other, most recently in 2024 when Soohyun attended IU's concert and took a photo with her. This close relationship has come under scrutiny lately, not only because of IU's apparent silence over Soohyun's scandal, but also because of her friendship with the late Soohee, who's also been involved in the controversy. In 2017, Soohee starred in the movie Real alongside Soohyun, and her appearance in this project proved to be extremely controversial. Netizens already didn't like the news that Soohee would star alongside celebrities who were deemed as more prestigious, but things got much worse when it was revealed that she would be involved in an explicit scene. The hate towards Soohee only grew as the release of the movie approached, and when the film hit theaters, it flopped. While critics agreed that the movie failed because of its poor direction and confusing storytelling, netizens ignored all these flaws and blamed Soohee instead. While Soohee was being attacked constantly with vile comments and a ton of hate, Soohyun distanced himself from the movie, leaving his co-star to carry the weight of the criticism. In the end, all the hate Soohee received for her appearance in Real contributed to her declining mental health, and as her struggles only became more severe over time, she took her own life in 2019. Now Soohyun's involvement in Real has been brought back to light after Soohee's brother released a statement that caused a lot of discussion online. In his post, Soohee's brother accused Soohyun of forcing Soohee to film the explicit scene and demanded an explanation from him and his agency. Many now feel like Soohyun exploited Soohee just like he did with Se-ron and believe that he played a role in worsening her mental health. It's after these new revelations that people started to look into IU's friendship with Soohyun, since it's well known that she was also very close with Soohee. The controversy began with a post on a Korean forum that explored her relationship with Soohyun and alleged that IU is his closest friend. While many defended IU, claiming that even if she's close to Soohyun, this doesn't mean she's involved in his awful behavior, many netizens started to attack her instead. People began pointing out several instances in which IU showed her closeness with Soohee, and some started to say that there's no way she didn't know what Soohyun did to her. Even Soohee's brother specifically named her as one of the people who inspired and helped Soohee the most while she was struggling with her mental health. Because of this, netizens are wondering how she could continue to be Soohyun's friend if she indeed knew that he contributed to Soohee's declining condition. However, not everyone agrees, and some argued that IU and Soohyun aren't really as close as people think, and she might not have realized that his behavior was weird. While this debate became more and more heated, IU remained silent on the matter, and she didn't respond to the accusations regarding her friendship with Soohyun and the resurfaced discussion over Soohee. This silence only fueled more speculation, and soon other posts on Korean forums took the controversy to a new level. However, this time the accusations soon degraded into unfounded rumors, sensationalism, and even ridiculous conspiracy theories. This began when people started to look more closely into IU's relationship with Soohee. Some netizens found several instances in which IU complimented Soohee for her beauty, to the point that she even called her the most beautiful among Korean stars. IU added that she had a folder with pretty pictures of Soohee on her computer, and even revealed that if she could be reborn, she would want to be born as Soohee. While most netizens just took these comments as a sign of IU's love for her friend, some instead alleged that she was jealous of Soohee and started accusing IU of copying Sully's style and mannerisms. Another controversial post claimed that IU used to refer to Soohee with her own real name, Ji-eun, or Wang Ji-eun, meaning tall Ji-eun. Some just think that this was a way for IU to show her love for Soohee, but others are now finding it weird and even believe that she was trying to replace her. Things only got worse when Soohee's brother made a new post talking about the controversy surrounding Soohyun, which was quickly deleted. In his post, Sully's brother claimed that IU was originally offered the leading role in RIIZE, but she refused and passed the script to Soohee. Not only that, but he also stated that she introduced Soohee to a psychiatrist who later also apparently worked with Guhara and Seiran, both of whom also took their own lives. While he didn't say this explicitly and he quickly deleted the post, it seems like Sully's brother was alleging that IU and the psychiatrist she introduced to her friends are somehow involved in the passing of Soohee, Guhara, and Seiran. While this seems just like a far-fetched and baseless accusation, there were a lot of people who took it very seriously and started discussing IU's past and to analyze even the tiniest controversies that involved her. In another post that went viral on Korean forums, one netizen complained that IU's image is too good, listing a series of past controversies and accusations. Among these are the allegations that several of her songs were plagiarized and that she used an unauthorized sample of Britney Spears' voice. Also, the post unearthed a past scandal from 2011 when Wooyoung of 2PM shared a story about IU. Back then, they were both starring in the drama Dream High, and since Wooyoung wanted to get closer to IU, he asked his friend Soolong of 2AM to help him by sending a message to her. However, IU apparently responded that she won't become close with Wooyoung, which hurt him a lot. While they were filming, the two went out to eat together with some staff members, and IU insisted on paying for everyone. Despite this, when the meal ended up being too expensive, IU told Wooyoung that he would be an amazing person if he paid for everything himself. In the end, Wooyoung and the staff split the bill, and IU later said that she was actually joking and she would have paid herself. Wooyoung and IU apparently were on a much more friendly note after this incident, but now netizens think that her behavior was a red flag. Discussing this issue, some people commented that she feels fake and she only acts friendly. Another post instead focused on her friendship with Bae Suzy and how it seems like they aren't that close anymore. Many dismissed this post as baseless gossip, saying that people just naturally grow apart over the years, but once again, there were netizens who took it seriously and looked further into the issue. People soon unearthed a comment made by Suzy years ago when she explained that the nickname Sukiri, a combination of her name and Kokri, which means elephant, was given to her by IU. This nickname was created to reflect the fact that Suzy is taller than most of her colleagues, but some felt that it was insulting. Even though Suzy was joking about this nickname, some netizens commented that IU came up with it because she was jealous and insecure, and even claimed that she was trying to bring her friend down. Adding more fuel to the fire, netizens found an interview made by IU over 10 years ago which contained what they thought to be some weird comments. While promoting her latest album, she said that she was an overhyped singer and that she felt like she was pulling out a scam with her new release. She even added that she has a talent for deceiving others and that her popularity needed to rise before people started to catch on. These statements might have just been a sign of her insecurity back then, and maybe she thought that all the love she was receiving was undeserved, but the comments are now being taken literally, with people starting to believe that she has been deceiving and scamming the public for her entire career on purpose. Things got even worse from here, and criticism soon evolved into unfounded conspiracies. First of all, many netizens began to speculate that IU's company has been covering up all her controversies over the years. One post on a Korean forum alleged that it's weird that news criticizing IU has always been rare, and as soon as Solly's brother claimed that she was the one who gave Solly the script for real, the post was taken down, along with several articles about it. Other netizens commented that numerous posts bashing IU were being removed from various forums, and one user even claimed that they had to take down their post after they were threatened. The idea that IU is secretly behind the passing of her friends and basically everything that went down in the industry sounds more like a bad movie than anything rooted in fact, but some people are eating it up. Given how Soohyun has been accused before of manipulating media coverage to soften the blow of his actions, many believe this sudden wave of IU-related conspiracies isn't just a coincidence, speculating that it's the work of his team, who are trying to redirect the blame, banking on the public's eagerness to turn against a woman. Meanwhile, his friend Jung Hae-in has only faced mild social pressure pressure to unfollow him, yet nobody's accusing him of being involved or questioning his character. But IU, she's being painted as some all-powerful mastermind who eliminates threats like a villain in a drama. It's not just wrong, it's straight up ridiculous. Another conspiracy instead listed a series of coincidences about IU's career in an apparent attempt at proving that she has some sort of behind-the-scenes power over the entire Korean entertainment world. The first coincidence is that she used to be the model for a soju brand until she was replaced by Irene of Red Velvet in 2018, but only a few months later, Irene was hit by a scandal, and soon afterwards, IU took her position as the brand ambassador once again. Similarly, IU was the model for SK Telecom until 2015 when Sohyun of AOA replaced her. However, soon afterwards, Sohyun was at the center of a controversy. The same thing apparently happened in 2021 when Na-eun of April replaced IU in an advertisement campaign, and just 3 months later, she lost all of her brand deals after a major mistreatment scandal surrounding her group. Something similar also happened to comedian Park Na-rae, who was hit by various controversies soon after replacing IU as a brand ambassador for a pizza brand Banolim. IU returned to be the face of this brand soon afterwards. The list also includes actor Kim Son-ho, who was modeling for Domino's Pizza, a rival of Banolim, and was at the center of a scandal just a few months after IU returned to be a brand ambassador for Banolim. To most people, the idea that IU is using all these scandals to help her career is just ridiculous, and these are all just coincidences, but some netizens took it even further. An even more absurd conspiracy theory claims that IU was once apparently exposed by a person named Ho Hye-sun, who also worked under the name HHS. However, according to these rumors, this person suddenly disappeared and went missing. The conspiracy claims that IU's song Shh, which is written as the reverse of HHS, was made to mock Hye-sun and her disappearance. Also, searching for Hye-sun's name in Korean on YouTube brings up both the music video for Shh and a news report about the body of a woman found in a trunk 11 years ago. People also looked into other aspects of the song, connecting together a lot of ridiculous points. For example, the song features Hye-in of New Jeans and singer Jo Won-sun, while IU's concert tour was named Her, and her album is called The Winning. According to these absurd claims, these are all references to Ho Hye-sun, as Ho is pronounced as her, and Hye-in and Won-sun's names contain the syllables Hye and Sun, while the album name is supposedly IU's way of saying that she won over this person. Various scenes that appear in the music video for Shh have also been taken as proof of IU's involvement in this conspiracy. Apparently not happy with how insane all these allegations already are, some netizens also claimed that IU was the one who caused the passing of Soli and Guhara. The apparent proof for this is that IU once said that all of her wishes would be realized in 2019, and both Soli and Guhara took their own lives that year. Things got somehow even crazier from here, with people claiming that IU is part of the Illuminati, a North Korean spy, and has links with Chinese gangs. The conspiracy claims that she's making ordinary people disappear and offering other celebrities as human sacrifices, and even eating them. She's also been accused of recruiting children through adoption agencies and trafficking them to all kinds of awful people. The people spreading these rumors claim that her links to the underworld are the real reason why she has become so famous, and news articles criticizing her are rare. Netizens especially pointed out how her plagiarism controversy was allegedly censored, with many videos talking about it being taken down, including one which accused IU of threatening them. Since the controversy ended with the court deciding that no legal action was needed, people even think that IU also has some power over the judicial system. The outrageous allegations don't end here, as some people also accused IU of wiretapping and stalking other celebrities and industry insiders. Others claim that she is actually an ethnic Korean who was raised in China, pointing out a few weird expressions that she apparently uses. After all these conspiracy theories emerged, most started wondering how people could even believe this nonsense, and many think that the amount of hate that IU has received for her link to Soohyun is way too extreme and much worse than what other friends of Soohyun are going through. While the conspiracies surrounding her are unfounded, unverified, and even nonsensical, the amount of posts made about them has forced netizens to discuss these issues, and as mentioned, many believe that she's being targeted on purpose. In any case, hopefully, people online can understand how absurd these conspiracy theories are and can go back to focusing on much more serious and real issues. But the cycle continues. When he first debuted, RIIZE's Soohee became one of the most hated rookies in K-pop. RIIZE has earned the unfortunate title of one of the most disliked rookies in recent K-pop history, with a particularly intense spotlight on one of its members, Soohee. Strangely, Soohee has managed to attract an astonishing amount of hate, and it's incredibly sad to watch since he did nothing to deserve it. The hate against Soohee started pretty early on, basically the moment he was announced as a member. Even though the hostility of netizens has mostly been focused based on his looks, it didn't start that way. Soohee first became a topic of controversy on August 1st, shortly after SM Entertainment announced that he would be one of the 7 members of RIIZE. Pre-debut photos of Soohee began circulating on various South Korean online forums like the KOO and Instaz, leading fans to discuss his life prior to becoming an idol. One specific pre-debut photo caught the attention of netizens as they claimed that it showed Soohee with a friend at a hunting bar called Glam. A hunting bar is a place where people can go on blind dates and find friends with benefits. In Korea, the term hunting holds a specific meaning which relates to picking up women in random places. Additionally, the pre-debut photos included a screenshot of what was believed to be Soohee's Instagram account, which is now deactivated, featuring a picture of him with his group of friends. While this was nothing bad on its own, the caption included an explicit phrase that read, "At our effing starting place." Netizens also observed that Soohee's friend had a tattoo on his leg. In the picture, the tattoo was partially visible under his jeans, and some netizens claimed to recognize that the tattoo seemed to have elements of the Irezumi style, a design associated with certain gang groups in Korea. While the last part of this isn't confirmed, the pictures and the caption raised concern among South Korean netizens who expressed disappointment about the fact that Soohee was debuting in the group in the first place. They voiced their opinions, and they were overly critical of him for literally nothing. Their comments included, "He does have the face of a low-life thug, lol. He goes to a hunting pocha and curses on his Instagram, wow. And I don't even want to associate myself with a guy who goes to a hunting pocha, so why would I spend money to stan one?" As always, an overreaction. It'd be a different story if he was engaged in something truly awful and non-consensual at the bar, but as far as we know, that's not the case at all. It appears to be a spot where young people could potentially meet up, and since Soohee is a young guy, it's normal for him to go to places where people his age hang out. It's important and even needed to call out genuinely bad behavior from idols considering their audience, but some netizens seem to be stretching things too far with this one. It's crucial to maintain a sense of perspective and not blow things out of proportion. This situation is crazy, especially considering that some netizens might have defended him if he really did something more horrible than go to a bar. We've seen this happen with other actors and idols in the past, with people jumping to their defense even if they've committed crimes, but somehow going to bars is where some people decide to draw the line. Just ridiculous. But it seems like everyone who is writing hateful posts about a guy going to a bar moved on from this so-called scandal pretty quickly when SM Entertainment started uploading videos and pictures of the members. For a few months now, it has become particularly disheartening to see the unwarranted criticism and hate that Soohee has to endure, which is mostly centered around his appearance. In this particular industry, where visuals hold a significant place in how idols are treated, SM is known for housing some of the industry's most visually striking idols. When photos of Soohee began to circulate, some netizens went as far as to suggest that he was ruining the reputation of SM idols, which we know is untrue. First and foremost, it's crucial to remember that beauty is subjective, and different people have diverse preferences. Soohee is, in reality, quite attractive, but he became a target of criticism from some who considered him otherwise. The negative comments on his appearance started all the way back in August when a video of all the members was uploaded. After the video was uploaded, a post popped up on the KOO with the title, "RIIZE doesn't have one visual in their video in real time." The comments were overwhelmingly negative, as one would expect from a post like that, but most of them were targeting Soohee. A commenter wrote, "Soohee is seriously ugly. Are they for real with his face? It looks like they just took a Hanam off the streets and debuted him." Mind you, this was before they even debuted. RIIZE in general got a lot of hate, more than we've seen recently with any other SM Entertainment group, but the fact that netizens knew absolutely nothing about these boys and were shooting cruel comments about their looks at them was just mind-boggling to witness. Not even 2 days after the aforementioned post, another one discussing Soohee's visuals was posted on Natepan, with comments discussing how SM lost their touch, and how they've become a charity company for taking everyone in. Even the positive posts about him got a lot of hate comments. A netizen shared lots of his photos, talking about how nice and optimistic Soohee seemed and how he smiled all the time, only for people to talk about how quote-unquote ugly he was. Even the post was full of backhanded compliments, saying that Soohee was a lovely person even though he was unattractive, but the comment section was just downright cruel. If this wasn't enough, there were also rumors that he had plastic surgery done, most specifically on his nose. A netizen on Natepan posted screenshots of Soohee, and their caption was straight up disgusting. They wrote that SM was worthy of praise for trying to fix someone like him. We can't even imagine what must go through a person's head to write something of this kind about a literal stranger who is extremely talented and just wants to enjoy singing and performing with his friends. The users wrote cruel comments including, "What the? Is someone pulling his nose?" And "Just with what did he become a trainee with?" It's never a win win-win situation for them, but as you can see, this is completely out of control. Unfortunately, there seems to be no end to this hate, as lately, even more nasty posts about him have emerged. On October 16th, netizens dug up his childhood photos and called him a dirty spoon. For those who don't know what that means, there's a saying to be born with a gold spoon in one's mouth, and it means to be born in a rich family. But netizens mockingly called him RIIZE Soohee, who's from a dirty spoon, meaning that he comes from a poor family. The post included a disgusting description that read, "A family of 5 lived in a small 15-pyong rental house. So he was a freaking dirty spoon. This is why he couldn't even afford to wear braces when he was young. He was so poor, even for his vocal academy, he had to pay it himself with the money he made from his part-time job. When you look at his house, you can tell there's nothing much to it." As you can see, instead of admiring him for coming from a poor family and working hard on himself to earn his own money and pay for his own education, netizens decided to harass him and make fun of him. Thankfully, there were some sane netizens who came to his defense and called out the original poster for crossing the line with posts that directly attacked his family and things that he has no control over. He has proven himself to be very talented, and it's not hard for him to stand out on stage, as he's more than just a good singer. He's unique because he adds soul and energy to RIIZE's songs, creating an incredible sound. Staff also had nothing but praise for him and his skills as a singer and a performer. The director at the Memories recording said that Soohee is so good that he doesn't need to follow the guide much, and Soohee quickly gave a cute thank you bow. Soohee's teacher also said, "Whenever I record Soohee's song, hearing Soohee's voice through the headphones makes my stomach so happy." This is a rookie artist, and he's already getting so much praise as a vocalist from his peers and from company staff. This says a lot more than the hate comments that are being left from netizens with nothing to do but sit around and badmouth people's looks. And to think that netizens tried to claim that his voice was nothing out of the ordinary, considering that Soohee is so immensely talented despite being a rookie and is still being judged on the standards of his seniors, not only is it unfair, but it proves that netizens have nothing to criticize him for and are just making things up. Not to mention that anyone who has met him and even his members have had nothing but praises for his personality. The backhanded compliment post we mentioned praised his bright personality, writing, "Even at the airport, he took all the letters that fans gave him, and when they were waiting, if the fans shouted Soohee's name, he would look at them and greet them. The members always gush about him and are all smiles when he's around, and it's obvious that they truly love Soohee both on and off the stage. It's no wonder why. He has an amazing personality that brightens up any room, and it's clear that not only is he a great artist, but also a treasured friend to the members. They often compliment him, saying that he's cool, cute, and handsome. This isn't just flattery, it reflects their deep admiration for Soohee, appreciating not only his looks, but also his exceptional qualities. Even though it hasn't been long since he debuted, he's already known in K-pop spaces for his charm and warmth, which attract fans and non-fans. Despite all the hate comments that he's been receiving, what really counts is the strong friendship within the group. RIIZE members value supporting and uplifting each other, understanding that the opinions of outsiders are less important than their close-knit bond. Their shared love for music and dedication to their craft overturn any unwarranted criticism, and it's good to know that Soohee has a great support system to lean on despite everything that he's been going through. We hope that more people can give him a try and show him love instead of hate. And for some, the pressure becomes too much. Many idols eventually walked away from K-pop entirely because of the hate they endured.
Okay, now this time, I'll be talking about idols who have literally retired because they couldn't withstand all the hate and pressure anymore. So, without wasting your time, let's get into it. Jong Jae-won, aka Won. Not many people know about Jae-won, but I think it's the right time to change it. The story of Jae-won and his idol career is so raw and honest that it just opens your eyes to what idols have to really go through. In 2020, Jae-won talked to Vice magazine. An article titled, "My life as a K-pop idol was stifling. Here's what finally made me quit," was published in January that year and left us gagging. He was brave enough to speak about things that not many idols are willing to reveal. Jae-won has always been really into music and he wanted to become a real artist. However, he thought that the only way to achieve success in Korea is by signing with a big agency. Jae has been in the industry since he was 16 years old. He dropped out of high school because he loved the process of making music, writing songs, playing the instruments, and everything about it. His dream was to get signed by YG Entertainment, and so he had begun sending them demos of his songs. Well, he had never heard from them, and just when he had forgotten that he even sent out some demos, his phone rang. The producers had left YG back then, decided to open up their own agency, and wanted to sign Jae-won immediately immediately, and so his idol life began. Jae very quickly realized that being an idol is not for him, and he persuaded the company to let him try the show Show Me the Money. When he became successful in the show, he got an offer from YG Entertainment. Jaewon looked back at those times and said, "What bothered me the most was having to make decisions that contradicted my own identity to appease management. I felt like these choices were making me go against who I really was." At that time, he had started to struggle with his self-esteem, and his idol career was more and more tiring. Jae had this to say about it: "I started to make a lot of money and people started recognizing me, but because I was not being myself, the more money that came in, the lower my self-esteem got." Jaewon revealed that he met many K-pop idols that were unhappy and that they continued to pursue their career just because they didn't see a way out. At one point, Jae decided that enough is enough and he quit. His biggest desire was to release music that would be authentic. He became very vocal about the issues that K-pop brings into artists' lives, such as emphasis on youth, no self-identity, cruel training, mental health, and no freedom. In the story that he told Vice, he said, "I wish there had been someone there to tell me I was enough and support who I was as an artist." Right now though, Jaewon is an independent artist under his own label, and he lives 100% the life he's always wanted to. He no longer has to submit himself to the standards he doesn't agree with and can produce music that pushes him further. Jaewon himself said, "It's important for everyone to know that what you see is not everything. Whether it's artists on stage or people you pass on the subway, it's the lack of understanding between people that makes it hard." He continued his statement with putting emphasis on how artists aren't viewed as everyone else. Everyone is human, artists included, and I think if everyone tried to understand one another and put in a little more effort to see things from someone else's side, things would be much better. It's amazing to see that he's doing so well these days. Send him some love, guys. Stray Kids Woojin. I guess I don't have to introduce you to Stray Kids. We all love them. Whether it's for their charisma or their talent, there is no point in denying that these guys are absolutely slaying it with whatever they decide to do. However, in 2019, the group was going through a rough patch when one of the members, Woojin, was accused of being involved in an inappropriate and non-consensual behavior while allegedly visiting a bar. Obviously, the media immediately grabbed this story and it was splashed all over the news. Some fans online started to point out that Woojin didn't treat the rest of the group respectfully and that he was sometimes low-key rude. However, many people consider this to be just an overreaction because there are fans who say that they never really noticed anything strange. One user of Reddit said, "It's honestly just Stan Twitter being dramatic yet again." But let's get back to the disturbing allegations of 2019. As expected, Woojin denied anything that could be considered as non-consensual behavior, and so JYP released a statement regarding the issue. JYP and Woojin's new agency had to deny these claims about 10 times till they were finally dropped. However, Woojin's name was tarnished and he decided to leave the company. According to JYP, it was his own decision, but netizens suspect that he was actually forced to do so. All of the allegations against Woojin were proven to be false. It was revealed that at the time when the inappropriate actions were supposed to take place, Woojin was actually at home. And if you wonder who actually started these rumors, it was an anti-fan. An anti-fan living in Brazil decided to fabricate the whole story to hurt Woojin and also the group. I know, messed up, right? Although Woojin is now having his own solo activities, he was for a long time considered to be an outcast of K-pop. Similar thing happened to Stray Kids Hyunjin this year when another set of allegations came out. Lee Ji-yeon. We are about to go way back a little and look at a female idol who quit K-pop because of her beauty? Like, literally, because of how freaking beautiful she was. Many people put Lee Ji-yeon in the era of the first generation K-pop idols, but the truth is, she was actually active before such a term even existed. Basically, she got popular in the 80s and was not only super talented, but she was freaking gorgeous too. Ji-yeon got extremely popular thanks to her innocent and pure looks and quickly rose to fame. But little did she know that the things that got her so popular would eventually stand behind her downfall. So let's look at how things really went down. Ji-yeon's talent was undeniable, and when people in the industry saw that her voice isn't the only great thing about her, they got a bit jealous. Actually, like, really jealous. She was only 18 when she became very popular, and because of her looks, innocent face, and amazing vocals, many malicious and mean-spirited comments had started to spread around. One would think that only people outside of the industry can send her hate, but the story of Ji-yeon is a great example of how competitive the entertainment business really is. So what is Ji-yeon doing now? Well, let me tell you, she still looks like a model and her reputation precedes her. Ji-yeon is currently a professional chef and works at a restaurant. Now, that is what I call a plot twist. She really aged gracefully. What a queen. Jang Mi-ine. We've been talking about musicians so far, but let me tell you a story of how a very well-known Korean actress had to quit the entertainment industry because of the amount of hate she received. I'll let you be the judge of the situation though. So, who is Jang Mi-ine? She is a 36-year-old former Korean actress who is no stranger to trouble and bold statements. Yes, girlie loved to stir the pot and say things that were either rude or literally incorrect. Mi-ine announced her official retirement from Korean entertainment industry in 2020 after she shared her opinions of the new policy of the South Korean president Moon Jae-in. What was the policy about? The president of South Korea wanted to financially support low-income families that were in need of money because they were affected by the pandemic. The government granted 1 million won per family of 4 for 70% of citizens. Mi-ine disapproved and shared her thoughts on Instagram. She said, "This is so annoying. Korea doesn't have that kind of money. You gave our land away to someone else too, didn't you? Are you really a government that saves the citizens? What's the worth of that 1 million won?" Whenever I see the news, I go crazy with rage. And as soon as she received backlash, she posted an update backing her statements with freedom of speech. Of course, she has the right to voice her opinions, but it would be nice if she realized that not every person earns $80,000 per episode of a K-drama. Anyway, the whole thing escalated quickly and Mi-ine was getting tons of hateful comments. When she posted a picture of her being outside without a mask, someone commented, "Please keep the basics and wear a mask." And she replied with, "It's a past photo, you." As you can see, she was far from a friendly public figure and one can hardly call her a role model. But believe it or not, this was not the first time that she was in the center of a medialized scandal. In 2013, she was investigated by the police because there were indications of her using illegal substances. The court found Mi-ine guilty of taking these substances and she was sentenced to 8 months in prison. As you can see, her career was just one big roller coaster.
Hate trains in K-pop show no signs of stopping, and as the industry grows, so does the pressure on idols to endure them. But at what cost? If you want more stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.